Well, I'm joined now by Nigel Nelson, who's a political commentator and a regular on GBNews. Also, we've got James Schneider back on the programme. He's a former advisor to Jeremy Corbyn. Strong words there, guys, from the Home Secretary. Please do not gang up on me. But Nigel, any comments, feedback?
Yeah, the first one is the missed opportunity. I think that she's absolutely right that migration is a global problem. There's 100 million people on the move, and certainly countries need to get together to deal with it. But the answer is not ripping up sort of the Refugee Convention. It's not leaving the European Court of Human Rights. What we need to do, and this would need international agreement, is to ensure that people can claim asylum outside this country. At the moment, they can only claim asylum on British soil. That's what draws the people into the boats to cross over from Calais. So that's what you should have raised in America, because that is the problem that needs to be dealt with. It needs to be dealt with internationally. And as for talking about, they can always go to the first safe country they come to, well, that would be ludicrous. I mean, if we've got so many people on the move, you can't do that. Turkey's got 4 million refugees in it at the moment. Okay. 70% of asylum.
So do you think, Nigel, that if we had your way, that would stop people coming over the Channel in small boats?
I don't think you stop it entirely. I don't think we're ever going to stop it entirely.
And how many refugees or migrants does that open the door to around the world having your solution?
Well, I mean, that's the whole point about international agreement. It's not a question of actually opening the door to...
Would you cap it?
You would cap it. You would have numbers there. But if you had safe and legal routes to come here, it would take away the incentive to cross the Channel. You sort that out by taking people from UN refugee camps.
But the people, Nigel, that want to cross the Channel, come here and live a life of crime, and we know that happens. We've seen it with the Albanians. They not want to go through.
90% of whom don't come here anymore on the basis that we've got to return to Britain.
Exactly. But when they come here for criminal activity, a policy like you suggest ain't going to stop that.
Well, I mean, what we're talking about is trying to stop the boats. I mean, that is the absolute priority, because it's really dangerous for people to do it. Yeah. Now, the only way you can do that is to have settlement schemes. Now, we don't have settlement schemes except for Hong Kongers, for Ukrainians, less effective the ones for Afghans. Yeah. What I'm talking about is taking away the incentive of crossing the Channel in the first place.
James, can we take the whole world into our great country?
No one is asking us to. So, I mean, like that idea, you've got this catastrophist idea, oh my goodness, we're going to be swamp bowl of these people. It's the same thing that Suella Braverman was sort of putting forward. And then no solutions. I mean, what Nigel just laid out, I could quibble with around the edges perhaps, but it's like a sensible proposal that would involve improving the safety for people and turning something which is uncontrolled and dangerous into something which is controlled and managed. All of the rhetoric which is not designed to improve anybody's lives, whether here or elsewhere, it's purely designed to say, don't look at the problems we've created in this country. It's really the fault of these frightening people over here who are coming to invade, or something like that. There's no solutions to improve any of these issues that are laid out there. And so really it's headline chasing to seem like you're tough and you're acting strong against this thing with no humanity and no policy.
We've seen the problems, Nigel, in America. Tens of thousands of migrants in New York. It's costing an absolute fortune. I mean, we looked at our problems in the UK with the illegal migration and people crossing the Channel. It's nothing compared to the problems they've got in America. Shouldn't that be a wake-up call to us?
Well, I mean, in a sense, we are woken up to it. We actually know what the problem is. And when we're making comparisons, I mean, our problem is nothing like the one that Germany is going through or France is going through at the moment. That Europe is having a major problem with migration, with asylum seekers trying to come over. What we're trying to talk about here is, what is the solution to that? And the only solution can be how you actually distribute so many people fairly around the globe. It needs a global solution. And that's why withdrawing from international organizations is not the way forward. We have to work with them to find that solution.
James, do you think our asylum system is being taken advantage of?
In the main part, absolutely not. I think that we're not fulfilling our basic obligations as humans to provide sanctuary to people who are in danger. I mean, as Nigel was saying, there are basically no safe routes. If you are from Afghanistan, a country that we occupied for the best part of 2 decades, then and you might have helped, I don't know, the BBC or some other British institution or possibly the army, there's no safe way for you to get to this country. And that is clearly against basic human values and should be against our values.
Nigel, well, yeah, I have 30 seconds on this one to close your part. Was Suella right when she said that it does need a world solution? It's a global problem.
Yes.
It needs a world solution.
This is where I agree with the Home Secretary. It needs a global solution. Let's have that discussion with other countries to sort this out.
James, do you agree with that?
I completely agree with that. And what she was saying, we need a global solution, and then saying basically, no, we're going to build walls.
I take it from you guys, final word, that you don't think we're quite pulling our weight at the moment with taking in enough refugees. Is that,
no, that's not a question of that. No, I mean, it's not a question of actually the number of people you take in. What we should be taking in here is not economic migrants. We should be taking in genuine asylum seekers. Every refugee starts out as an asylum seeker. Not all asylum seekers are refugees. We must establish quickly that they are refugees so they can begin working here.
And James, why did they leave a safe country like France to come here if they're fleeing persecution?
Let's take the Afghan example I just gave. They could maybe speak English. They might have some connection to the UK because they might have some family here, or they might know somebody who's come from where they're from in Afghanistan who worked with British people and they like Britain. There are loads of completely understandable reasons why people from Afghanistan or Syria or Iran or whatever want to be...
What about the young males who's coming from Africa, from Sudan and Eritrea? They're coming to several safe countries, and they're in the camps. They're being taught how to speak English. They don't speak English. They're being coached in the asylum process by the charities. I know, I was there. Are these people genuine asylum seekers, or are they economic migrants that's taking advantage of our asylum system?
I generally think that people stop running and stop getting into dangerous situations when they feel safe. So if they're getting into this dangerous journey across the channel, then that sort of means they're not safe. If you're talking about Eritrea, there's a reason why there are huge numbers of asylum seekers from Eritrea, and it has very high levels of acceptance as refugees because of the dictatorial policies of that country and having military service for life. That's the reason why people are refugees from Eritrea.
Thanks, guys. Wonderful stuff.